Pig and the little round ball. In front of Peppa's house, with gentle sunshine, a small round ball slowly rolls into the yard. Peppa stands and looks, tilting her head curiously. George sits behind, watching the ball. Peppa bends down and gently pushes the ball with her hand. The ball rolls toward George. George happily stands up. George kicks the ball a little too hard, and the ball rolls faster. The ball rolls past Peppa, and Peppa runs after it. From a distance, Daddy Pig watches. Peppa stops the ball. Peppa gently kicks the ball toward George. George catches the ball and laughs loudly. Daddy Pig appears, and the whole family laughs happily. Teddy Bear Rescue. George tossed Teddy up to play, but oh no! Teddy didn't come back down. Instead, he got stuck high up on a tree branch. Peppa jumped as high as she could. George stretched his arms as far as he could, but Teddy stayed firmly on the branch. Just as the two were about to give up, a sudden gust of wind blew in. Teddy fell from the branch and landed neatly in George's arms. George hugged Teddy as if reuniting with a long-lost friend, while Peppa giggled under the tree. And so, the Teddy rescue mission ended, not thanks to any plan, but thanks to the wind itself. Peppa Pig and Daddy Pig's hat. Daddy Pig sits on a chair in the garden, wearing his familiar hat and holding a glass of water. Peppa and George are playing with a ball nearby. Daddy Pig stands up to water the plants and accidentally leaves his hat on the chair. A gentle breeze blows by, and the hat gently wobbles. Peppa sees the hat and walks over curiously. Huh? Peppa tries on the hat. It's too big and covers her eyes. George giggles. A stronger gust of wind blows through. The hat flies off Peppa's head. Peppa and George run after the hat. The hat lands right in front of Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig bends down, picks up the hat, and puts it back on his head. Peppa and George run over, see Daddy Pig wearing his hat, and laugh loudly. Peppa Pig and the Mysterious Footprints. Peppa and George are running and playing when Peppa suddenly stops and looks down at the ground. On the grass, small round footprints appear, forming a line. George curiously bends down to take a closer look, his eyes wide with wonder. Daddy Pig is watering the plants nearby and hasn't noticed yet. Peppa signals to George, and the two of them follow the footprints. Mummy Pig appears, holding a basket, and smiles when she sees the two children crouching down. The footprints lead to a small puddle in the garden. Peppa and George look around, feeling a little surprised. Peppa and George look down, then look at Daddy Pig. Peppa realizes the footprints are Daddy Pig's, from when he watered the garden earlier. It ends with Peppa and George laughing happily. Peppa Pig and the Giant Cookie. This morning, Peppa and George walked into the kitchen and immediately stopped. Right in front of them was a giant cookie, looking just like a treasure from a fairy tale. Peppa climbed onto a chair while George held it steady below. Peppa used a long spoon to pull the cookie toward herself. The cookie tilted slightly, making them both jump. then burst out laughing. Daddy Pig walked in, smiling, and broke the cookie into bite-sized pieces. Mummy Pig brought some milk, and the whole family laughed together, enjoying the cookie as they shared a lovely morning. Peppa looked at the remaining piece of cookie and exclaimed, "We could make dinosaur-shaped cookies next time." George's eyes lit up in agreement. Today, Peppa and George have found an old car tire in the garden. It's round and shiny black, looking rather mysterious. Peppa has an idea. Let's roll it. So, the two begin pushing the tire around the garden, giggling as it wobbles along. But, oh dear, the tire suddenly rolls away, right down the little slope outside. Peppa and George gasp and chase after it. Their tiny feet scramble as fast as they can, dust flying everywhere, while the tire rolls faster and faster and faster. The tire bounces straight into the vegetable patch. Thump! A carrot shoots into the air. Whoosh! Lettuces tumble all over the ground. Daddy Pig, who was watering the plants, looks up in surprise. He rubs his eyes in disbelief. A naughty tire is wrecking the whole garden. Daddy Pig hurries over, ready to scold them. But when he sees Peppa and George laughing loudly in the puddle, he can't help but laugh too. Mud sprays everywhere. Their clothes are filthy. But everyone is happy. For Peppa and George, even an old car tire can turn into the best game ever. It's a beautiful day, and Peppa and George go to the park with Daddy Pig, bringing along their colorful new kite. Daddy Pig excitedly runs as fast as he can to make the kite fly high. But Daddy Pig suddenly trips over a rock. The kite still soars up high, but then gets stuck on the statue's ear in the park. Peppa and George look up, both surprised and giggling. A strong gust of wind blows through, pulling the kite down and covering Daddy Pig's head. He stumbles around blindly, while Peppa and George burst into fits of giggles. What was supposed to be a simple trip to the park turns into an unexpected comedy show. The wind blows stronger, making the kite slip right out of Daddy Pig's hand and swirl around in the sky. Peppa and George run after it, giggling and reaching up to catch it. Daddy Pig hurries along too, but quickly becomes out of breath. It was a bright, breezy morning in Peppa's backyard. As Peppa wandered around, she spotted a colorful umbrella lying forgotten in the corner of the garden. Peppa curiously picked it up, wondering what fun she could have with it. Suddenly, a big gust of wind blew. The umbrella opened wide, lifting Peppa off the ground. She squealed in surprise. Up in the sky, Peppa floated and twirled like a pink bird with a rainbow wing. The wind carried her over the yard, spinning in circles, dipping and soaring. Down below, Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, and George gasped, then burst into laughter as they watched Peppa's unexpected flight show. The wind slowed down, and Peppa landed gently on the soft grass. Her family rushed over as Peppa waved with a big smile. Peppa and George are inside the house. Peppa holds a sheet of blue paper. Carefully, she folds the paper into the shape of an airplane. Beep, beep, beep. Peppa makes the sound of a plane taking off. Peppa gives the paper plane to George. George smiles widely. He holds the plane and runs around the room. Whoosh, whoosh. George makes the sound of the plane flying in the air. Peppa claps her hands to cheer on her little brother. George runs near the window. He throws the plane. The plane flies out the window, loops around once, and lands on the green grass in the garden. Peppa and George watch in surprise. Peppa and George run outside into the garden together. They look everywhere for the paper plane. Hooray! Hooray! George shouts when he finds the plane on the lawn. They both pick it up and run back inside the house, laughing happily. One morning, George wakes up and looks around his room. Toys are scattered all over the floor. Books lie in a messy pile on the desk. And the blanket and pillows are all over the bed. George puts, he hands on, he hips, sighs, but decides he will turn a messy room into a tidy, cozy place. George starts picking up each toy, sorting them by shape and color, then placing them into different boxes. One for cars, one for stuffed animals, and one for building blocks. Each time George closes a lid, George stacks the boxes neatly against the wall. George folds his blanket carefully, smoothing out each corner. While folding, a big teddy bear hidden inside the blanket falls to the floor. George giggles, hugs the bear for a moment, then places it neatly at the head of the bed, right next to her favorite pillow. After dusting the desk and arranging the books in order, George steps back to look at the whole room. Everything is clean and tidy, the floor is clear and shiny. George lies down on the bed, opens a picture book, and enjoys the cozy feeling of George's freshly cleaned room. Peppa Pig and Tidy Up Day. Peppa and George's room. Toys are scattered all over the floor. Teddy bears, balls, and building blocks. Peppa looks around the room, a little surprised. George sits among the toys, happily playing. Mummy Pig walks in smiling. Mummy Pig hands a toy box to Peppa. Peppa picks up a teddy bear and puts it into the box. George picks up a ball, but it rolls away. Daddy Pig comes in from outside.
Aha!
Daddy Pig picks up the ball and hands it back to George. George smiles happily. Peppa Pig and the Mischievous Breeze. Peppa hangs a handkerchief on the clothesline in the sunny garden. George holds a few wooden pegs, trying to help his sister secure it. Suddenly, a gust of wind sweeps through, sending the cloth fluttering and then soaring away. Peppa dashes after it, George giggling as he follows close behind. The handkerchief twirls around the flower beds, landing briefly on a pile of dry leaves. Just as Peppa reaches out, the breeze lifts it up again, making them both laugh at the teasing game. At last, the cloth drifts down gently and lands right on Daddy Pig's head as he reads the newspaper outside. Daddy Pig looks up, puzzled for a moment, then chuckles as the little ones rush over. Peppa and George burst into laughter. Peppa Pig and the Shape-Shifting Cloud. Peppa and George sit on the grass in the garden. High above, white clouds drift slowly across the blue sky. George points up at the sky, excited. Peppa squints as she watches a big cloud drifting by. Daddy Pig sits nearby, holding a cup of water, and looks up at the two children. Mummy Pig sits beside them, smiling gently. The cloud slowly turns into the shape of a chubby little pig. Peppa jumps up excitedly and points at the sky. A moment later, the cloud stretches out and turns into the shape of a dinosaur. George's eyes light up, and he jumps up happily. The cloud slowly breaks apart into many small pieces and drifts away. Peppa and George laugh happily. The pig family arrives at a farm to try being farmers for the day. We're going to be farmers and take care of the plants, Peppa says. Everyone gets ready to start working on the farm. Peppa and George start watering the plants. I'm going to water the plants so they can grow big and strong, Peppa says. George helps his sister by watering around the garden. Peppa and George begin to pick ripe tomatoes from the garden. Look, our tomatoes are ready, Peppa says. The pig family continues to pick vegetables and put them in their baskets. After a hard day's work on the farm, the pig family sits down to enjoy the vegetables they just picked. We can eat what we've grown with our own hands, Daddy Pig says. Everyone enjoys a meal and feels proud of their hard work. After a hard day's work, the pig family sits down to rest. Being a farmer is fun, but I like playing more, Peppa says. Daddy Pig laughs and says, helping on the farm is good, but playing is fun too. The whole family laughs and feels proud of their work. Peppa and George are playing with a balloon in the park. A strong gust of wind blows the balloon up into the sky. Peppa looks up at the balloon, startled. George points at the sky, following the balloon with his eyes. Peppa and Daddy Pig start running after the balloon, trying to keep up as it flies higher. Peppa and Daddy Pig run across the grassy field, their legs moving quickly. George runs behind, watching the balloon and smiling. Peppa and Daddy Pig spot the balloon caught in a tree branch. Peppa points at the tree, excited to see the balloon. Daddy Pig uses a long stick to try and reach the balloon from the tree. Peppa hops around happily. Peppa and Daddy Pig are happy to have rescued the balloon. Peppa holds the balloon in her hands, smiling. George jumps up joyfully. The pig family sits down together and continues to play in the park. Peppa Pig and the Blooming Flower.
Wow!
Peppa's Great Ball Chase. Peppa kicks the ball and it rolls down the hill.
Yahoo!
Peppa and George run after it, but the ball keeps rolling faster. The ball falls into a flower bush, and Peppa crawls in to look for it. George is delighted when he sees Peppa find the ball. The two of them continue playing football in the park. Peppa Pig and the Opening Box. Peppa and George are playing in the living room. In the corner of the room, there is a small cardboard box with its lid slightly open. Daddy Pig is sitting on a chair, and Mummy Pig is sitting beside him. Peppa bends down to look inside the box. George is also curious and leans closer to the box. The box shakes slightly, making both of them jump in surprise. Peppa opens the box completely. Daddy Pig sees it from a distance, so he walks over and leans in to look inside. Inside are a few toys. Peppa holds the toy, and George jumps up excitedly. Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig smile. The empty box lies still on the floor. Peppa Pig and the Ripe Apple Tree. Peppa spots the apple tree, heavy with ripe red apples. She bounces up and down, reaching as high as she can, but the apples sway teasingly above her, just out of reach. George grabs the tree trunk and shakes it with all his strength. A few apples tumble down with a satisfying thud, but instead of landing in their hands, the apples roll, roll, roll far away. Peppa and George scramble after them, completely out of breath. Exhausted, the two sit under the tree, ready to give up. Suddenly, a gust of wind shakes the branches. One shiny apple drops straight down, rolling right to Peppa's feet. George picks it up proudly, holding it like treasure. Peppa giggles. The two share the apple, munching happily under the tree. Peppa Pig and the Wandering Leaf. Peppa and George are playing in the garden. Yahoo! Daddy Pig is standing nearby, watering the flowers. A yellow leaf gently falls down in front of Peppa. A gust of wind blows past. A yellow leaf gently falls in front of Peppa. Peppa runs after it, with George toddling along behind her. Daddy Pig looks up and watches. The leaf floats past Daddy Pig and then lands on his head. Daddy Pig is startled. Daddy Pig smiles as the leaf gently falls down beside Peppa. Peppa holds the leaf while George stands beside her happily. All three of them look at the leaf and they all burst out laughing.